Hey everybody, it's Dr. Wood again, and today I want to talk a little bit about like an example research proposal, like how you would actually write it up, some things I think you should know about it, things to avoid perhaps, and some other tips and whatnot. So this is one I wrote up, and basically it's based off of the research that I did back when I was in my fellowship, roughly getting close to 8 years ago, I think. So it's been quite some time, but I still think this serves as a pretty good example of what one of these research proposals might look like for you. So first off, there's going to be 5 parts to it. So we're going to have our statement of the research problem. We'll have our question that we're trying to answer, our hypothesis that we've generated based off what we think is going to happen, the purpose of the research, and then finally the impact on the physician assistant. So basically, the statement of the research problem is going to be whatever the actual issue is at hand, right? So if you're saying that, talking about hypertension, like we don't have the most effective way to manage hypertension and prevent complications, that might be your statement of the research problem. Here, I did mine based off of coral snake antivenom shortages and how that might affect treatment. So if you're unnecessarily treating patients, and then that may prevent other people who actually did have a real bite from getting the antivenom. Now, this is no longer relevant because they're now actually making the antivenom again, but again, this is based off of ancient history. So regardless, that's the problem, right? So we're trying to figure out, okay, we don't know who really needs to get antivenom here, right? So then the question is kind of boiled down into, okay, should all patients with a history of bites get antivenom, or maybe should we wait until symptoms develop? Okay, that's the ultimate question you're asking here. What's the best treatment for this? Should people get surgery for this? What's the best screening for this disease state? That's the question you're going to have it boiled down to in basically one sentence, okay? So you state the problem, you get into the actual research question here, and then you state your hypothesis, right? So generally, you're going to come up with an idea. You probably have an idea of what you think is going to happen once you do that research, right? And so again, this is going to be something we may not find the ultimate answer because maybe the research hasn't been done on it. This is simply just a literature review, so it's not like you're doing actual bench research yourself. But looking at the hypothesis, you're saying, okay, well, what did I think about this problem going into it? Well, I figured that if you waited until patients had symptoms and then you gave them antivenom, they probably have similar outcomes as those patients who got it immediately, right? So again, that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm thinking I'm going to find before going into it. You may be proven wrong, and that's totally fine, but that's what you're trying to state, okay? Then you're going to say, what is the purpose of the research, right? So, okay, I basically said that research is going to review existing literature. You're saying what you're going to do, right? So you're going to go through, review existing literature, figure out, okay, which patients got symptomatic, which ones got antivenom early, which ones didn't, etc., and kind of state that out there, okay? Basically what you're going to be doing during your research as you formulate the paper itself. And then finally, this is kind of a specific one we wanted to focus it back on your profession as a physician assistant and basically say, what is the impact on the physician assistant? Now, this may be applicable to others than just yourself. It could apply to physicians and toxicologists and et cetera. But in this case here, how do you think it would impact you as a practitioner? So if you work in dermatology, you can say, well, this would affect all PAs working in dermatology because now we have a better screening for this type of cancer, right? In this case here, I said, okay, well, it's coral snake bites that typically affects ICU providers and ER providers. So, okay, this would be affecting those practitioners in determining who needs antivenom and who doesn't, right? So that's kind of the final portion of this. One thing I want you to note, and this is something where some of you may have done medical writing before or scientific writing before. This may seem like old hat to you. This may seem like a really kind of rote skill that you already have. Many of you, this is a new thing. So that's why I'm trying to make sure that everyone's on the same page here. But one of the things I'm going to note with your writing style is you never want to use I statements, right? So you don't want to say, I'm going to be reviewing the literature to do this. Generally not done in medical literature. So you're going to say, basically like what I'm saying here, this research will review existing literature, blah, blah, blah. You never kind of put it in a personal sort of perspective there, okay? So that's going to be one thing you're going to know with your sort of writing style for these things. That's kind of one of the big problems I see with a lot of people early on and I have to kind of beat out at them a little bit. So anyway, this is what a research proposal should look like. Yours may not look exactly like this, but it should at least contain these basic points here. If you have any questions, though, certainly let me know, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.